Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy D Felton. Just wanted to hit y'all with this quick video. So I always get a question whenever just in general, but usually when I'm out somewhere at a school or something, people will ask me, what books am I reading? Because I always talk about books and whether it's something that I've written or something I have an idea for or something maybe I read some years ago that's informing uh, some some piece of information that I'm sharing with people at a particular time. And for some reason, I mean, there are a number of people who will share like what they're reading or what they have read. But I don't know, for me, I haven't always done that. Not that I'm trying to keep it a secret or keep y'all from knowing the same things that I know or learning the same things that I learn or anything like that. I don't know, I guess I haven't really gotten around to it. Every now and then I will share one or two things, but um, I figure if I'm learning and it's helping me, maybe it'll help y'all too. So the whole idea is, at least for me right now, it's more so about spiritual growth more than anything else. And one thing I know for certain, I know this for sure without a shadow of a doubt because it has been demonstrated in my life, whether I was consciously aware of it or not, that meaning your spiritual mind, not necessarily your human thinking brain, in terms of mental health, but your spiritual mind and what's going on in there and the way that you are thinking about yourself, your relationships, your health, your business, your family, what's going on out in the world is a reflection of what's happening in your spiritual mind. And I know for certain, and I can even give y'all scientific evidence. In fact, maybe I'll even link to an article or two at the bottom of this video that actually shows you and proves to you by using scientific means that you are continuously creating your reality based on the state of your consciousness. So what is consciousness? Consciousness is your perception. It's how you see things. It's how you process information. It is your level of awareness. It is how you, and it's also tied to how you feel about things. There's a spiritual component, there's a physical component, there's a mental and emotional component of consciousness. So you can know something, but not necessarily apply it. And I believe when you become more conscious, you know stuff, but then you start applying what you learn and what you know. And then those things begin to show up in your life on a lot of different levels. And I have really started to really not necessarily just now take it seriously. I shouldn't say it because I've always been serious about it. But I have a desire, probably like you, if you're watching this video, to go to a new level, a new spiritual level, um, knowing that it is from that space that I'll manifest the things that I want, and frankly, things I don't want are also manifested based on our levels of consciousness. So what I want to do is, I don't really have, this is not necessarily in order of okay, number one book, number two, number three, and it's not necessarily a particular um, number of books, because there are still several that I'm still going through and reading and learning from and seeing how it applies to my life now. But what I'm going to do with you now is just share with you probably, I don't know, I got maybe 5 or 6 books down here that have had an impact on my life. And so the stuff I'm going to share with you is not just, oh, I just picked this up one day, I flipped through it, and oh, it seemed cool, so maybe you should check it out. No, I'm actually sharing books with you that have helped me to change my life. And I'm hoping that even if it's not these exact books for you, maybe these resources lead you to other things. You know, like what often happens. We start flipping through one thing or we search something on the internet, and then next thing you know, it leads us to something else. And that's kind of actually how I ran across a lot of these books is I was looking for one thing, but then something else caught my eye that felt, I don't know, just felt right and felt like I should, pick it up, read it, and see what I can get from it. So here's my list. I'm going to start off with this book. It's called the Everything Lucid Dreaming book. I'm not sure if this is showing up backwards for you guys or not in the video, but I picked this up at Half Price Books in my neighborhood, and the book was normally like $20. I got it for like $10, so living up to his name, Half Price. But in this book, Lucid Dreaming, one thing we need to know about dreams is that a lot of us, or every last one of us dream, but very few of us are consciously aware of what we're dreaming and what the dreams mean, what the dreams are saying to us. So we'll have a dream about us as a small child going on a picnic and drinking lemonade with our parents. And we'll wake up and say, oh man, I had this dream. Like, well, first of all, if you even remember the dream, because most people don't even remember their dreams. But let's just say you happen to remember that one and you'll wake up and say, oh, okay, I felt pretty good. That was a nice little dream. I have no idea what it really means, but, I dreamt it. When it comes to your dreams, you have to be like Sherlock Holmes. You have to be a detective and figure out like what your dreams mean. What are they saying to you? And so what do I mean by what are they saying to you? Our dreams are how our spirit speaks to us. Because if you look at a dream is usually it's all imagery. In most dreams, there's very little talking. There's very little, it's not always even sound, but it's a lot of images, a lot of things moving, a lot of pictures. And one thing we need to know about the spirit world and the dream world is that it speaks to us in pictures, and pictures are symbols. They symbolize something. So let's go back to the example with you being a kid, picnic and drinking lemonade or sweet tea with your family. That dream could be speaking to you at a certain time in your life, or maybe you need to make some decisions. Who knows? Maybe it's a career move that you need to make a decision about, or moving to a new city, or getting into a relationship. And this thing has just been on your mind for like the longest. And then you had this dream while you're at a peak period of contemplating this decision. And if you look at the dream, and let's say it was sunny and you were running around and you were laughing with your parents and you just felt really good, that might be an indication that the decision that you're thinking about making, you should probably make it. It may be a good thing for you. So you need to learn how to interpret your dreams and then piece them together with your waking everyday life and figure out what it means. And that is where this book can help, because one thing I learned, not just from this book, but from other research I've done, is that lucid dream, very few of us will ever even have a lucid dream in our lifetimes. You may have one or two if you're lucky in your life. And a lucid dream is essentially where you are you're asleep, but your conscious mind is still awake and is still aware of what's happening. And then you become an active participant in that dream. And then this book, it actually breaks down things that you can do to induce a lucid dream, to get into a lucid dreaming state where you are an active participant in the dream rather than just a dream happening to you. You are making things happen. You are moving things around. You are walking to a certain place. You are speaking to a certain person with a purpose. But even though you know that you're still sleeping, but your mind is awake. And the book breaks down things that you can do to, again, induce that state, and then what you can do once you're in that state. So it talks about certain things that you could do in terms of meditation. It talks about how the history of lucid dreaming, going back to what some ancient cultures in Egypt and Sumeria and Greece and other places talked about when it came to lucid dreaming. I'm going to read a passage from it just to kind of give you an idea of what's in this book. By the way, the author's name is Michael Hathaway. Michael Hathaway, Everything Lucid Dreaming book. So I'm going to give you a quick little passage. All right. So here is a description of a lucid dream state. And he writes, most people think of lucid dreaming as waking up sometime during the night or other sleep periods and becoming aware that they are still dreaming. That is not the only way that lucid dreaming can be accomplished. You can also enter a lucid dream from a waking state. The dreamer begins by inducing a trance state, such as self-hypnosis, that opens the connection to the unconscious mind and its reality. Now, the unconscious mind, you can replace that with the word the subconscious mind, which is where all of your experiences in this lifetime and any others have happened. All those experiences are stored there in that spiritual memory bank. All right. The conscious mind is still aware enough to interact with the images. Remember, I said dreams are images that the unconscious mind is creating. So essentially, your dreams are being created by experiences and thoughts from your subconscious mind, and is trying to interact with you in this state. Let me just keep reading this. The concept of lucid or conscious dreaming is thousands of years old. It can be a magical experience for anyone who wants to try it. You can train yourself to use various lucid dreaming techniques while you are sleeping, after you have woken up from a dream, and through the use of altered states of consciousness. So again, it's a quick little passage from this book, but again, it breaks down the benefits of lucid dreaming. What is a lucid dream versus a regular dream? How to recall and remember your dreams, how to record them, and what different people have said about dreaming, and there are exercises in here for imaging and visualization. So it's a lot of value in this book, and I encourage you to check this out. All right, what's next? This book is called One by Lance Secretan. And One is, the subtitle is The Art and Practice of Conscious Leadership. Lance Secretan is I basically know him from speaking, like seeing some of his lectures on the corporate circuit, where he goes into businesses and he talks to companies and sales forces and different staff and management about how to become better and more conscious leaders. And this book breaks down a lot of his philosophy around that. I like it because he brings a sense of spirituality into the workplace, where it's not just, okay, sell, 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 and drive business and motivate, people, whatever. He goes much deeper into like why we need to have a sense of courage and authenticity and truthfulness. And he even uses the 4-letter word love in talking about business and leadership. And I like him. I like his style. And like I said, you can probably find some of his videos on YouTube. I'm sure he has some stuff online for you guys to check out. But let me read a passage from his book to give you an example of some of the things that he's talking about when it comes to being a conscious or a spiritual leader. It's from page 61, where he says, "It takes courage to accept and embrace concepts that, at first blush, may feel counterintuitive because they may not be a part of our current accumulated awareness." And I think when we talk about business and we talk about things like consciousness and love and authenticity and intuition, a lot of that stuff doesn't always, it seems counterintuitive to business because of at least how we think about business here in America. It's very much, a lot of the mentality is, grind, be cutthroat, survival of the fittest, every man for himself. Let's beat them. Let's whoop their ass. Let's do this, hard driving competition. And so a lot of what he talks about goes against the grain, of that. And so, yeah, man, good book. So check this one out. Let's see. Yeah. Let's go with this one. The Four Agreements. This is an oldie but a goodie that has been around. Man, this book. What year did this book come out? Let me see. What was it originally? It was originally published back in '97. So, The Four Agreements, a Toltec wisdom book by Don Miguel Ruiz. It is, first of all, what are the Four Agreements? The Four Agreements are: 1, be impeccable with your word. And what does he mean by that? I mean, speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. You can use a lot of that on social media, right? Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. So we all should know how powerful our words are and how they affect others and ourselves, and our belief, our energy. The tongue has a lot of power to either build or destroy. And so he goes in on how to be impeccable with your word and speak with integrity. The next agreement is: don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream, meaning their own experiences, their own subconscious or unconscious mind, right? That spiritual memory bank that we just talked about. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Like, how many times have we taken what someone else has said or done and put it on us, and now all of a sudden we're having a crappy day because this person is pissed off and they're having a bad day? So just some good wisdom and a good, really a good way to live in terms of not taking anything personally. The third agreement is: don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Think about how many times somebody has maybe sent a text message or wrote something on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and then the few characters that they have available to them to say something, you assume one thing, but they probably meant it another way, because you can't always pick up tone and intent in a lot of our technology. So you don't really understand how the person is really communicating. You just see the words that they have written there. You can't read their body language or look in their eyes or hear the inflection or in their voice. So that's why we have to ask, well, what do you mean by that when you said this? And even for me and my wife, when we were going through our marriage counseling before we got married, our premarital sessions, we had to talk a lot about what we mean when we say or do certain things. Instead of just assuming, well, this is what it is, we had to say, well, we had to start to learn how to ask, well, where did that come from? Why do you feel that way? What are you really trying to say? Or like if you say to me, I don't know, man, I really want some Chipotle right now. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, you want some Chipotle. That sounds nice. But what she's probably really saying is, can you go get me some Chipotle? So it's like, let me not just make an assumption that she just has a taste for it. Does she want me to stop and get it? Is that, so let me not just assume, let me ask, right? But you'll be amazed, that's a small example, but how often we misinterpret what someone is saying. And the fourth agreement is always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. And this kind of goes back to when a person will say, if at the end of the day, if you can look in the mirror and say that you gave your very best, even when you had a bad day or something that you didn't quite go as planned, if you can honestly say, hey, I actually gave it my best, then that should help you to rest comfortably, knowing that you were in integrity with yourself, and you are it helps put you in a healthier state of mind. Because, when you often, I know with me, I can be very hard on myself sometimes. And if I make a mistake or do something wrong, I will often dwell on the mistake, that I made. But the problem with that is the more that I repeat that thought over and over again, the more it becomes a part of my consciousness, and the more that becomes my experience in my reality. So, but if I can change my thinking to, all right, man, I messed up here, but now what can I do better the next time I'm in that type of situation? That could help me when I face a circumstance like that again to deal with it a little bit better. And it could probably help you too. All right, what else? What's another book here? Oh man, Invisible Supply by Joel Goldsmith. Finding the gifts of the spirit within. Man, like this right here, this is one, man, Goldsmith, let me see what year he wrote this book. This book was published in, originally, that's the 90s, is a reprint because he died in 1964. I'm trying to find when this book was originally published. It was probably in like the early 60s, late 50s maybe, when this book was originally published. But if you all aren't familiar with who Joel Goldsmith was or is, this new age movement that we see a lot of people in, a lot of these spiritual quote unquote gurus or what have you, whether it's a Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson. A lot of these people, the lady Louise Hay from Hay House, I heard she was actually this guy's secretary when he was like living. A lot of them, almost all of them, got their stuff from him. Like he's the foundation of a lot of the new age thinking. And what was amazing about Joel Goldsmith, whenever he gave a speech, he never wrote anything down. All his speeches were channeled from spirit. He would like literally get in front of a mic and he would kind of go into like a trance state and he would change or alter his state. And he would just start vibing, just start going in for like hours on whatever the topic was of the day. But what I love about Invisible Supply is that it talks about how every single thing that we could ever want or hope to achieve, we already have inside of us. We just have to learn how to go within, quiet ourselves, dig it out, and bring it forth. We manifest from the inside out. How nothing is outside of us. Everything that we want or need is already within us, but we need to learn how to activate that. And essentially, let's say, I'm going to give you an example of supply. Like, let's say I bought a new pair of shoes, right? And a lot of times we would look at the shoes or the stuff as the supply. But the stuff of the shoes, the material, is not the supply. It's the effect. It is what came from some other actions that were taken before we actually got the shoes. So that could be going to work, getting a job, getting a paycheck, going to the store, and then being able to purchase the shoes, right? But if we look at that from a spiritual place, before that shoe came into existence, somebody had to think it. Somebody had to have a vision for it. They had to draw it out. They had to break out their Photoshop or Illustrator to work all the details. They had to work with other artisans and manufacturers and people in textiles to come up with the technology and the materials before that shoe actually became a thing. So the shoe is just an effect. It's a manifestation of something that was already on the inside. So the actual supply are your thoughts, your creativity, your dreams. It is your gifts. And so the subtitle, Finding the Gifts of the Spirit Within, kind of sums it up perfectly. So I'm going to read a passage from the book to kind of give you an idea of what Mr. Goldsmith wrote and where he got this idea of spiritual supply from, or what he means by spiritual supply. When you demonstrate spiritual supply, the forms of supply roll on forever, and you never again have to take thought for what you shall eat, or what you shall drink, or wherewithal you shall be clothed. Demonstrate spiritual supply once and for all. Then let that supply appear outwardly in whatever forms it chooses. So let me just kind of break down what he means by that. So spiritual supply, again, is everything inside, everything that you already have within. The forms are the stuff, is everything else on the outside that was manifested from the ideas and the inspiration within. And what he's saying is, if you continue to go to spirit, if you can continue to raise your level of consciousness, and you become the thing that you need, you become money, or you become a job, or you become love, or you become health, then this stuff shows up in your life. You don't necessarily have to go out and get it. You become these things by going within. And then these things start to show up in your life. And you don't have to worry about, well, where is it going to come from? Well, it's going to come from here. It's going to come from here, and it's going to come from here. All your spiritual mind working to bring something into physical reality. So this last part when he says, demonstrate the spiritual supply once and for all, then let that supply appear outwardly in whatever forms it chooses. So let it appear, meaning stop holding on so tight to it. Like you want something so bad, but you just hold on to this idea that it has to happen in the time frame that you want, the way that you want it to appear, from the place you want it to come from. But that may not be how the Spirit is going to manifest that thing. So let's say that you are trying to, I don't know, you just want some money to buy groceries. Okay, you need $50 or whatever to go buy groceries. But when you envision it, you imagine it as a $50 bill or two 20s and a 10 coming into, in the palm of your hands that you go to the store and you pay with. But suppose that you're at your job and you get a gift card from the local grocery store, from the local Kroger or Jewel or Whole Foods or something, and it's for $50 or more. Are you not going to accept that? Would that not be good enough for you? Would you not be able to go and get the groceries that you need? So very often we try to dictate the forms that things come to us, when it can come to you in a bunch of different ways that are just as good, if not better, for you. So be open and let Spirit work, essentially, is what he's saying. And definitely check this out. You should probably be able to find this on like Amazon for, probably $5 or less, a used version. Because this book was used. When I got it, it had like one or two markings in it, but nothing really even noticeable. I can't even find them now. So definitely check out Brother Joel S. Goldsmith, Invisible Supply. All right, so that's just a few of the spiritual books that I've either like read this year or since middle or end of December up until now. Some of these I've read actually more than once. I've gone through or have gone back to reference like certain things. And I hope that this little small list helps you and leads you to whatever insight that you are seeking. All right, so thanks again for listening, and I'll holler at y'all. Peace.